Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
I've mentioned before that I live in Michigan, where of course Detroit is. A lot of car companies are headquartered here. A lot of cars are built here. It's spreading out now, but back in the old days, a lot of cars were built in Michigan. And so, interestingly enough, Michigan does not have vehicle inspections. We do not have vehicle inspections. So you can buy a used car and register it and drive it. And a police officer could pull you over. The car looks horribly unsafe to drive and cite you for some kind of ticket, for a equipment ticket. But generally speaking, the idea that a vehicle needs to be inspected is absolutely foreign to us here in Michigan. And I talk to people in other states who say, Steve, I bought a used car that won't pass inspection. And I'm saying, I'm really sorry. I've never dealt with that problem before. They go, how is that possible? And I say, I'm in Michigan. We don't have vehicle inspections. And they're like, what? And I had a guy call me, he was beside himself because he'd bought a car on the internet from Michigan and he was in a state that required inspections. And the vehicle showed up, obviously wasn't going to pass an inspection. And he goes, what can I do? And I said, buy it as is or with a warranty. Bought it as is, sight unseen off the internet. And I said, well, you bought it as is. And he goes, but it won't pass an inspection. I said, as is means may or may not do anything. That's what as is means. So here's the interesting thing. Some countries have got inspections, and some countries' inspections are notoriously difficult to pass. And David Tracy, the writer for Jalopnik, who's now at The Autopian, and I would highly recommend you check out The Autopian. But he worked for years at Jalopnik. That's how I met him. I used to write for Jalopnik as well. And he spent time in Germany. I believe his parents live in Germany. And in Germany, he famously buys these junky cars and keeps them on the road because he likes weird old Jeeps, for instance. And he's got a car in Germany that he bought because it's very unusual. It's a diesel with a manual transmission, and it's an unusual car. You'd never see one in America, but he found one, and he has it in Germany. And his parents are driving it. I guess his dad's driving it. And he talked about when he got this thing, trying to get it through the German inspection process. And apparently, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. And apparently, he eventually did get it through. But he wrote several articles about it. In fact, I've had him on my show on mymytv.com where we've talked about this issue. So here's the story. Brian sent me a note and said, Steve, check it out, regarding Tesla and the problems they're having in Germany. The story is from The Drive. Lewin Day wrote it. Now, this is from a few weeks back, but over 10% of Tesla Model S electric vehicles fail Germany's strict inspection after 3 years. 10%, 1 out of 10, fail the inspection. And this, of course, is data they've gotten directly on the issue. So Tesla, of course, has become one of the foremost players at the cutting edge of electric vehicle technology. It has, for a long time, struggled, however, to match automakers with respect to build quality. And they're getting better at it. But there was a time when you could go on the internet and type in body fit Tesla and find all kinds of hilarious photographs of Tesla vehicles that were delivered with what we call body fit issues, where you'd expect to see two body panels lined up perfectly and they're off like this or they're off like this. So that's one issue, okay? News from Germany brings the issue into clear focus, however, as Tesla's Model S has come out rather unfavorably versus its electric vehicle competition, as reported by Merkur.de. In Germany, rigorous automotive inspections are regularly carried out. First, after the car has been on the road for 3 years, and then every 2 years thereafter. So you buy a brand new car, it doesn't need to be inspected, but 3 years down the road, yes. Then every 2 years thereafter. Testing was traditionally handled by organizations operating under the TUV banner, and while deregulation has brought more competition into the area, these regular inspections are often still called a TUV. Your car needs a TUV. Each year, the TUV Association, made up of a variety of technical inspection companies, releases an annual report based on its findings on the vehicles that pass through inspection stations. The 2022 edition is the first in which the company has commented on electric vehicles specifically as a category, as the number of EVs presenting for inspections has finally reached a high enough level for useful statistical analysis. And by the way, TUV, the U's got the umlauts over it. So just to let you know, it looks kind of cool. Looks European. The Smart 4.2 electric drive performed best, with only 3.5% showing any defects upon reporting for inspection. BMW's i3 was not far behind at 4.7% having a notable defect. For comparison's sake, the average defect rate for all cars from 2 to 3 years old in Germany is 4.7%. That's the average. However, other models did not fare so well. Renault Zoes presented at 5.7%. And the worst, however, was the Tesla Model S. 10.7% of the models showed up for testing with a defect of some sort. Not only was this the worst EV in the study, the Model S placed third to last out of all cars, including those running internal combustion engines, coming out ahead of only the Dacia Logan and the Dacia Duster. Never heard of either one of them. Primary problems stated for the Model S were issues with the suspension wishbones, as well as problems with fog lights and low beams. Suspension problems and other quality issues are often discussed when it comes to Tesla, sometimes as bad as bolts missing from the factory. Outside of the anecdotes, however, it's interesting to see real data collected from the wild that confirms the real scope of the issue. And that's always one of these things that is interesting to study. And here we have data from the stations that test the vehicles and look into them with inspections down the road. Some other things that get tracked, for instance, auto companies often track how many warranty repairs are performed on a particular car in the first few years of its use. And so if you poke around, you can often find the numbers where they'll say, like, for every 100 cars that got made of this particular, make and model, of that 100 cars, 88 of them needed warranty repairs, or 50 of them, or 33, or 12, or whatever the number. And it'll often be per 100 cars. And I've seen them, explained in different ways. And likewise, Consumer Reports for years tracked these things. But there's always the question of how accurate that stuff is. So, for instance, if somebody brings their car back to the dealership and goes, Mike, I hear a squeak. And so they bring it in the service department, and the guy takes it for a ride and goes, I don't hear anything. Brings it back, says NPF, no problem found. Well, if they diagnosed anything, they still may have said that was a warranty visit. And that might get counted as a warranty repair, even though they didn't do anything, And in the old days, Consumer Reports used to do surveys. And they just call people up and say, what kind of car do you got? Do you like it? And I know it's a little more in depth than that, but there is a bias that people have about their cars. And if you like your car, you're likely going to say, I love the car. Never had any problems with it at all. And then, wait, two years ago, didn't you have a problem with, oh, that's right, I forgot about that. So you're always looking at the data, where it comes from and who's collecting it. And would the people collecting it, have an incentive to be honest or dishonest? And here, it seems like this would be a great place to collect disinterested data. Disinterested in that sense means people have no stake in it. They simply just say, oh, these are what we found. Now, some people are going to say, Steve, they do have a stake in it. Because if they find problems, then that might create some more work down the road or something. But these are inspections. These are inspections. And I don't know that the inspectors would actually have any reason to fail a vehicle unless they get to charge for the second inspection. But I'm sure there's some standards there. But like I said, David Tracy's got some great stories about trying to get his junker through the TUV inspections in Germany, which, like I said, I was talking to you about it, and we were cracking jokes and joking around about all kinds of other stuff. And I said, tell me about this story. And all of a sudden, it's like a really, really bad shift as we changed gears and got into a very serious topic. He's like, no, let's talk. Those are serious. Very, very serious things. Trying to get your vehicle through the German vehicle inspection. So there you go. In a situation where a third party is evaluating vehicles across the board, over 10% of Tesla Model S EVs failed Germany's strict inspection after 3 years. Brian, thanks for sending it. Lou and Day wrote it for thedrive.com. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law.
Meaning of reference manual. Object that raises the monitor to eye level.